Okay, hello everybody. Hello everybody. I've got the kid song in my head and it's kind of catchy. So if you're watching the replay, I've just been going live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:15 Pacific Coast time, just to, cook in the kitchen together because we're all stuck at home, and instead of being stuck and not having anything to do, I just wanted to add some value to, or add to your list of things to do to pass the time. So I'm gonna wait a few more seconds for some friends to come online. Madison, sweetie, what would you like as a snack? Hi, whoever is watching. 2 people watching. Hey, sing 1, 2, 3, 4. S in, I think.
Almond butter and apple.
Almond butter and apple. Good morning, Maria and Valeria and Victoria. Do you want to say hi?
No.
Okay, Madison's feeling shy, so she does not want to say hello. Hello, Papa Oreo. What a cool name. I like that. Now I want Oreos.
Hi.
Okay. You don't have to say hi if you don't want to. It's okay. That's my 4-year-old. So I've got a 4-year-old daughter, Madison, and then my son, Liam, is 7 months old, and he's Cheryl. That's right, Cheryl. Madison, please don't yell at me. And my son is teething, so he may wake up screaming to be helped. So I apologize for that. Madison's impeccable timing is that she wants a snack right now, so I'm going to make her some almond butter and banana, and I'm going to talk you through what we're going to do. So my friend Maria said that she has too many blueberries, right, Maria? Still have too many blueberries? Sorry, I keep getting texts. I should turn those notifications off. So she wanted to make a recipe with blueberries. Now, we could have just gone with a traditional blueberry muffin recipe, but I thought, well, why don't we switch it up a little bit? Scones are fun, and I don't know if Matthias is here, but Matthias, you were asking last time what scones are, and Madison, I don't know where the peeler is. And scones are like little tea crumpets. There you are. There's Matthias. So they're like kind of crumpets, and like a cross between crumpets and a kind of sweet bread and a muffin. I don't know. You serve them with tea. You can have them in the morning. So I just thought that would be fun. But I actually didn't have a blueberry scone recipe in my repertoire. So I looked one up, and I found one. Oh, where's her name? It's not on this thing. I'll put the name of the blog where I got it from in the notes below, in the comments below. You just burped, so that you can check it out, because I don't want to take credit for her recipe. And I promise you I'm going to get started as soon as I get Madison some almond butter and banana. Here's your apple, sweetie. Apple and almond butter. In case you're wondering, it's a very nutritious snack to have almond butter and apple, or almond butter and banana, or even actually almond butter and celery. Hello everybody, we've got 6 people joining us. It's so lovely to have you. I hope everybody's having a good day. 7 people, hey, how are you? We are making blueberry scones today as soon as I get my daughter Madison some apple and almond butter. My husband is doing live yoga from our yoga studio, which is currently closed, but he's streaming live from there. Here you go, sweetie.
Where's Daddy?
At 9 a.m. Pacific Coast time every
Where's
day.
Daddy?
Daddy's at the studio, sweetie. So I'm trying to navigate this live
It was closed.
with my 2 kids, so bear with me. Okay, let's. It is close, sweetie. So let's get this show on the road. Madison, sweetie, I'm going to ask that you just give me like 5 minutes just to get this done, okay? And you're welcome to join me. I'd love to have you as my sous chef. Okay, so we're going to just start right away. Grab yourself a big bowl, okay? Then you're going to want to take your favorite gluten-free flour mix. I actually prefer, sorry, Arrowhead Mills, but I prefer Bob's Red Mills. I just don't have any You have plenty of blueberries, Papa Oreo. Okay, good. Do you also have plenty of Oreos? Because it could be interesting to make Oreo scones. Did we just make something up? Okay, so we're gonna take a cup and 3/4 cup. So 1 3/4 cup of this gluten-free flour and put it in here. If you're paleo, you can use the Bob's Red Mill paleo flour mix instead. That's no problem. Then we're gonna take a teaspoon and a half of either xanthan gum. I don't love xanthan gum because it's synthetic, so you could use guar gum instead. But I also got this stuff. It's called not xanthan, not guar, and it's from Sprouts. What can I replace the xanthan gum with? Maria, do you have anything like this or guar gum? If not, do you have psyllium husk? And if not that, then maybe you can do a flax egg, because really we just kind of want to bind the ingredients together. If you want to wait, I can run some over to you later. You don't have any gums. Okay, that's okay. If you want to wait, I can run a teaspoon of this over to you later. Maria's my neighbor. I can literally throw a stone and hit her house. You can use an egg, yeah. If you don't want to make it vegan, you can use an egg for sure instead of this. That should be good. Is it a substitute for the gluten? No, the guar gum is a substitute for the egg. Well, actually, it's a little bit of both. It's a substitute for the egg, and it's a substitute. Papa to a dog named Oreo. Oh, I see. A dog named Oreo. That's great. The guar gum is a substitute to the egg and the gluten, because what happens with gluten is there's 2 proteins in gluten, gliadin and glutenin. And what happens is when liquid hits those proteins in the flour, that's when this like gummy kind of texture forms, and that's why using non-gluten-free flour you need to why you get really delicious
I need a napkin.
gummy-ish bread. But also the guar gum acts as a binder like an egg would. So it's really for both. So Maria, go ahead and use an egg, and if you're watching and you're not vegan, you can use an egg. Okay, so I'm gonna add a teaspoon and a 1/4 teaspoon of guar gum to this, or 1 egg. And then we're gonna use some coconut sugar. Okay, you can check. Just crack an egg into the flour. No, that's a good question. Don't crack the egg into the flour. Wait a minute. We'll do it. We'll crack the egg into a separate bowl and whisk it up and set it aside. And I'll tell you, remind me if I don't remember to tell you when to put it in. Thank you for asking that. Okay. So I like to use coconut sugar because it's got a nice nutty flavor and it's not too sweet. If you don't care, you can use regular sugar. You can use monk fruit sweetener. You can use Swerve. Swerve is this cool sugar alternative. I'm gonna need a little bit more of this. Oh wait, that's a 1/3 cup. We're good. Okay, so 1/4 cup of coconut sugar I just added in there. Now we need a tablespoon of baking powder. A tablespoon, in case you didn't know, is 3 teaspoons. So if ever you can't find your teaspoon or your tablespoon measurement, just know 1 tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. And the reason I think that we're adding so much, normally you wouldn't use this much baking powder, but it is what causes the scones to rise. So you need a little bit of extra lift, and that's what the baking powder does. Please get aluminum-free baking powder. Aluminum should not be anywhere near what you cook or bake ever. Okay, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So if you've watched me for a little while, hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us. If you've been watching me for a little while, you've probably heard me say this so many times, but I'll say it again. Salt brings out the dominant flavor in your recipes. That's why you see it in baking and in savory cooking. It helps to bring out the dominant flavor. Oh my gosh, Madison, you ate all of your apples in almond butter. Wow. Okay, so I've got all of my dry ingredients in here. Thanks for joining us. I see we have 8 people now. So we're making blueberry scones, and I'm just going to recap what I've got in this bowl. We've got a 1 3/4 or 1 3/4 cup of gluten-free baking flour. We have a teaspoon and a 1/4 of guar gum or xanthan gum or some kind of binder. If you're not vegan, you can use an egg instead, but crack the egg in a bowl on the side and don't add it in just yet. We've got a 1/4 cup of coconut sugar. You can use any kind of sugar you want. I prefer coconut because it's nice and nutty. A tablespoon of aluminum-free baking powder. Please no aluminum anywhere in your kitchen. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, okay? So I'm using a whisk and I'm using my hand to get the lumps out. Because you don't, what's that, sweetie? The clumps, yes. Madison knows this very well. Okay? Great. With an egg, is there any way I intend to whip the whites instead of using baking powder at all? Do you think that would work here? I mean, it's worth a shot. Why not? Try it out. It could work here. I haven't done this recipe before. This is a special request, and I wanted to honor Maria's request to do something with blueberries. So I found this great blueberry scone recipe. So we're learning together here. This is like a learning tutorial together. Okay, so now add the coconut oil. So typically when you're working with coconut oil, I've got my big mother giant thing of coconut oil because we use it all the time. Do that with pancakes. Matthias, if it works well with pancakes, try it with the scones for sure. So normally when you're using coconut oil, you want to use it in its liquid form when you're baking with it. But in this case, we don't want that. We want it in kind of, it's like you don't want it to be too hard. You still want it to be malleable. But the reason is because we're making a dough. Where is my 1/4 cup? I don't know where my 1/4 cup is, so we'll just use this. So we're making a dough, and when you're making dough, traditional dough that's not gluten-free, you use chilled butter, and you kind of just cut the chilled butter into the flour, and what you want to do is get a dough that kind of resembles like little peas, little granules. So that's what we're going for here. So in order to do that, we need the coconut oil to be at room temperature, not melted, okay? So this is a 1/4 cup of coconut oil. Oops, low battery, whoops, we'll be okay. So 1/4 cup of coconut oil. I'm putting this right into the flour mixture, okay? At this point, Maria and anybody else still using an egg, don't put the egg in just yet, okay? Let me just wash my hands off here for a second so I don't get coconut oil all over the phone. Okay. I'm gonna take this off. It's getting hot in here. Okay, so this, whoop. See how it's right in there? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a fork. I know I had a fork, yeah. And I just want to make sure that she's saying the same thing. Mix until the coconut oil is well combined. It should be powdery and dry. So we're not looking for a batter here. We're looking for a relatively dry mixture. So I'm using my hand and a fork. I always like to do that. I just like to, I don't know, get close and personal with my food. So my energy, oh my goodness, look at that. That guy's hanging off the side. All of those guys? Wow. Okay. My goodness. So I really just want to disperse the coconut oil so it's not all just in a big clump in one part of the bowl. Okay. Okay, so what is going to make this a dough? Now, at this point, if you're using an egg, this is when you add the egg and the coconut milk. So we're going to add 1 cup of coconut milk. I'm using full-fat coconut milk from a can, which is what the recipe calls for. And we're doing 1 full cup. Put that in there. Okay. So add this and your egg if you're using an egg right now. There we go. Okay, so I think I'm still going to use my fork. So let me show you again. I need to get a better setup. Oh, sorry for my floury hands. Okay, so that's what it looks like there. Now I'm going to mix it up. Mix it up. And again, if you have not experienced me before, I talk to my food when I'm baking and cooking because everything is energy, believe it or not. It's actually true. So if you're talking to your food lovingly and nicely, you got a better shot that things are going to turn out to tasting a little bit better. A little bit better, or a lot better. I actually had a chef instructor told me that when I was in culinary school, and she was really by the book, so I was really surprised to hear. She wasn't the kind of person who you would have thought would have said that food has energy, but she was right. So what we're trying to do is get a nice little soft dough to form because we're going to actually make a little disc. So you see what's happening here? So this is a dough, and this is a really good consistency because I want to form it into a little disc, and I'll be able to do that. If it's too dry, I won't, and if it's too wet, I won't. Okay, so this is a really good consistency right here. I promise I'm gonna work on setting this up so that you can see the bowl and the stuff that I'm cooking instead of me, because I'm sure you don't just want to look at me, especially since I'm not putting makeup on and stuff. Yours is super wet. That's probably because of the egg, Maria. So if that's the case, just add some more flour. Whoops. Here we go. So Maria, I would add, start with a cup of flour and mix it. I wish I could see like what super wet means. Can you still form a dough with it? Or is it just like so wet that there's no way you could form a dough? Because it wouldn't be all bad to have it super wet. Okay. So at this point, you're probably thinking, where are the blueberries going? Let me show you this dough. You can form it, but it's on the wetter side. You know what, Maria? That's okay. Add a little bit more flour and mix it in. But it's okay that it's going to be wet. They're just going to be a little bit more moist, which is not a bad thing. It's okay. A little bit harder to work with, but again, totally fine. And we're going to chill this in the fridge, so it's not going to be as bad as you think. Okay, so here's my dough. You see? Okay, but now I need to fold the blueberries in. So you can use fresh or frozen blueberries. I'm using fresh, and I'm just gonna fold those in literally with my hands because I like to get down and dirty with my food, as you know. That sounds bad, but I promise you I've washed my hands 17,000 times, which I think we're all doing. Not that you're gonna eat these scones. This is just gonna be for me and my family, but you know, it's important to know. And speaking